Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Lots of cloud cover here in Durham this morning. That's not the case everywhere. I'll show you what it will look like as you're heading out the door.
And the president of Iran is confirmed dead after a helicopter crash. The latest information we're getting from the crash site.
And people who own a home here in Wake County could see their property taxes go up. That's under a new proposed budget. Just ahead, a look at how you could weigh in on some of these potential changes.
All right, guys, we're here on Monday. Got to get the week started just right here. We've got weather to talk about, traffic to talk about. But first, we want to say good morning and thanks for joining us here on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Welcome in on your Monday. Like Chris said, you know it's Monday, but we're going to make it fun for you. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. How about this fun look? The WRAL Tower, our Southeast Wake County Tower. I mean, wow.
Isn't this a great shot? So blue sky here, but then we're dealing with this deck of low cloud cover that's covering a good chunk of at least the triangle area. We're seeing sunshine in other places. I'll show you the satellite view of where those clouds are in just a second. 62 right now, the dew point at 60, so it still feels very comfortable outside right now. Notice how, of course, this is a visible image, so that means that the satellite is seeing what is happening in daylight. So kind of watching the sun come up here, but you can get an idea of where those clouds are thickest from Raleigh down toward Goldsboro and northward, but we have plenty of places, say from Fayetteville down toward the Sandhills, over towards, say, Sampson County, where we're seeing sunny skies right now. And where we are seeing the cloud cover, that's likely to dissipate pretty quickly. So from the triangle northward and up towards, say, South Hill, Virginia, that's where the most of the clouds are right now. But like I said, it's not going to last forever. We will see decreasing coverage of clouds this afternoon, only about 40% of the sky covered with clouds, and it will be a mild afternoon with a high temperature around 80 degrees. Still looking at potentially wet conditions for the weekend. I'll show you what that looks like coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, 8:02 in the WRAL Traffic Center. We continue to monitor this crash there in the Roseville area. Right now, it's on South Main Street near Lewisburg Road. Right now, you can see no major delays in that area, but just watch for some police activity if you're navigating that section of Lewisburg Road and South Main Street this morning. Elsewhere around the Triangle, boy, you see this all the time at this time of the morning. Traffic is building on the south side of the Beltline around Lake Wheeler Road, the Gorman Street exit. Similarly, in the north side of the Beltline, coming in off of 87 out of Nightdale, and you exit off to those 440 westbound ramps, you can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic that's going on, maybe brake tapping, really. It's moving, but it's moving very slowly this morning. We're seeing some traffic building on US 1, to Capitol Boulevard coming in from Wake Forest as well as I-540. You can see that bumper-to-bumper traffic going on as well. The Durham Freeway also a troubled spot this morning around Cornwallis Road. All these things you need to keep in mind is if these are part of your morning commute, just make sure you're giving yourself some extra time.
Thank you, Ken. We're following this breaking story from overnight. Iran's president, Ibrahim Raisi, is confirmed dead. That announcement came at about 12:30 this morning, our time. He and Iran's foreign minister are among 9 people now confirmed dead in the helicopter crash there. Iran's cabinet held an emergency session today, led by the nation's first vice president, who will take Raisi's seat of power. Drone footage shot just before rescue crews arrived shows the wreckage on a remote hillside. Crews arrived there early this morning after battling difficult weather conditions and terrain. Raisi was a hardliner who had been seen as a possible successor to Iran's supreme leader.
Wake County wants to know how to spend your tax money. They'll host a public hearing this afternoon to find out where the community wants their money to go. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the Wake County Justice Center. And Laura, the proposed budget could significantly impact school employees and homeowners, too.
Michelle, it is a really big week for people who live here in Wake County. Taxpayers will have the opportunity to weigh in here at the Justice Center later today ahead of that final decision coming from the Board of County Commissioners. I spoke with the chair of the County Commissioners, and she tells me these really focus on key specific areas to decide how these funds will be dispersed, including tax rates for homeowners. The proposed budget decreases the property tax rate by 22%, but since home values are up, the amount you pay will likely go up. Wake County Chair Shanika Thomas tells me the extra revenue is needed if the county wants to keep serving its rapidly growing population. She describes other areas that's also a major focus for them.
So public safety is a priority. Education is always a priority. Housing is a priority for us. And so we're looking at a variety of things, but We also understand that budgets are tight.
And that public hearing begins at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Laura Levine, WRAL News, we're live in Raleigh.
Teachers and staff in Durham public schools are calling out the school board for what they say are union-busting tactics. The Durham Association of Educators plans to hold a news conference this afternoon. They say the school board is denying their union rights during the negotiation for higher pay. This comes after employees held walk-in rallies at nearly 24 schools Friday morning. They say they expect a response from the school board before its next meeting on Thursday. And tonight, Durham City Manager will present the budget proposal for the next fiscal year. It's happening during the City Council meeting that starts at 7 o'clock tonight at City Hall.
Keeping your family safe online is essential in the digital age, and today there's an opportunity in Raleigh to make a game plan to teach your kids about internet safety. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us from Green Magnet Elementary School. Kelsey, this is important. This is an important topic for moms and dads.
Michelle, it is. Starting a conversation with your child about scary situations that can happen online may be difficult. That's why parents are invited to come out tonight to Green Magnet Elementary School to get more informed. Parents will learn about 3 specific areas of online safety: what dangers are out there, how to protect your child from them, and what to do if something goes wrong. Last week, we told you about parents going to Raleigh police. This after 3 10-year-olds said a man exposed himself to them online and threatened to shoot up a school. Data shows there's a disconnect between parents and kids when it comes to internet safety. A Microsoft survey shows 74% of teens reported experiencing an online risk, but only 62% of parents believe their teen had experienced that. The executive director of Safe Child NC says parents should give guidelines for what to do online.
It's no different than given a bike or a toy or, something else a child is going to interact with. There are instructions.
The State Department of Justice will be here tonight to answer any parents' questions. That event starts tonight at 5:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Time is 8:07. People who live near NC State's campus on Western Boulevard say they're worried after 2 shootings happened just an hour apart. Officers found a man with a gunshot wound near Sherman Avenue and Clanton Street. This was just before midnight Saturday night. That man, 22-year-old Joris Cooper, later died at the hospital. The second shooting happened an hour later, 2 blocks away near NC State's McKimmon Center. A person went to the hospital with serious injuries, but neighbors say that it just scares them to have these shootings happen so close to their homes.
I was scared because I live here and I come out sometimes, and hey, you don't know, a stray bullet, or just a resident, and it's I don't feel safe.
Police have not determined whether the shootings were related.
This is a live look in Baltimore this morning, where crews have refloated the cargo ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing it to collapse. This happened just recently. The Unified Command began work to refloat the dolly at high tide earlier this morning. Officials say the whole process to refloat would take them about 21 hours to do. Crews used explosives in the partial demolition of the largest remaining steel span of the Key Bridge last week. And school will be back in session in Houston today, even as more than 200,000 homes and businesses in the area remain without power. Cleanup is continuing after powerful storms Thursday that caused widespread damage and left at least 7 people dead. Dozens of schools are also still without power. Those schools will remain closed today.
Firefighters are battling a major wildfire in Tonto National Forest in Arizona. Look at your screen here. The National Forest is the largest in the state and is located around 20 miles north of Scottsdale. The Wildcat Fire started on Saturday and already has burned 5,000 acres. Authorities have asked people to stay away from the area. Right now, it's unclear how the fire started or how much of the fire is contained.
Students and staff at a Georgia college are grieving the death of a student who was shot and killed on campus over the weekend. A female student was shot in front of a residence hall on Saturday on the campus of Kennesaw State University. That's about 30 minutes away from Atlanta. Police have arrested a suspect who they say is not a KSU student. He's being charged with murder, among other charges. Neither the suspect or the victim's names have been released. University police and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation are investigating.
Law enforcement agencies across the state are getting tougher on drivers not wearing seatbelts. This is happening as the busy Memorial Day travel season approaches. The Memorial Day Click It or Ticket campaign is happening now through June 2nd. You could face a fine of up to $179 if you are caught not wearing a seatbelt. Officials say about 92% of North Carolina drivers do use their seatbelts, but about 45% of people who die in crashes in the state are not wearing one.
Coming up, former President Donald Trump's hush money trial is getting close to the end. What we're expecting today is Michael Cohen is expected to wrap up his testimony and the possibility of Trump himself taking the stand.
Plus, the nation's first black astronaut candidate had finally gone to space. How he feels after finally fulfilling his dream 60 years later.
And we have a nice day in our forecast. There's some cloud cover out there right now in places, but we'll end up with some sunshine this afternoon. Looking ahead to the big holiday weekend, it does look wetter, wouldn't you know? I'll show you which day looks the wettest coming up.
Welcome back on your Monday morning. Just coming up on 8:14, this is a live look over downtown Raleigh. A lot of clouds in the sky this morning. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. A lot of clouds for now, but hopefully all of that's going to clear up later. Elizabeth, you have a live look over Sanford, some low-lying clouds too.
You know, the fog situation changes so quickly. It can change, 10, 15 minutes, and we have seen the clouds drop just a little bit here in Sanford. So some fog/low cloud cover, but the sunshine is trying to help dissipate that fog and low cloud cover across our area. So we'll give it at worst case scenario, probably 11 o'clock, maybe noon, but most of us are going to see the sunshine peeking through well before that. 62 is our current temperature. We'll be in the mid 70s at lunchtime with some sunshine and a nice afternoon. 80 in Raleigh, 81 in Durham, and 81 in Fayetteville. We'll see partly cloudy skies for the afternoon, and our humidity stays on the lower side. We just bumped up to 60, so that puts us in the low end of tolerable, closer to comfy, but that's not going to last long. We get toward the middle and the end of the week. Thursday in particular, when our dew point climbs on up into the 70s, puts us in the tropical zone. The high will be 91, so it's going to feel like the middle of July or August on Thursday. Then we transition Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday into a wetter pattern that'll drop our temperatures, but it will stay very muggy for us. So enjoy today. Yesterday was a lovely day. Today, same story. Temperatures below normal just by a degree today. And then we see the temperatures climbing and see how we turn to yellow and red. That's an indication of temperatures above normal. Tomorrow's going to be a great day to head out to the ballpark at the DBAP. It's a 6:30 game. Temperatures at 6 o'clock will be in the upper 70s. Lots of sunshine for Tuesday. Very pleasant temperatures, nothing too hot yet. And by the time we get to Thursday, it's going to be pretty steamy. 81 is our normal high, so we're above that Tuesday through Friday. And again, 91 on Thursday. That will be the hottest day of the week. Taking a peek at the Memorial Day weekend, our preview looking like some scattered showers and thunderstorms late on Friday afternoon and evening. Saturday, the computer models are showing a good bit of rain for a good chunk of the day. And then Sunday looks considerably drier, but not completely dry. Monday, the chance of a few scattered storms. Now, this is a lot of days out. We're going to get a lot of information, dozens of runs of the computer models between now and then. So if you have Memorial Day weekend plans, keep checking back with us. We have the chance of above normal temperatures. It's a small chance, but between May 27th and June 2nd, but it doesn't look like we're going to have a big cool down coming our way anytime soon. Even though we'll see a good chance for showers and storms over the weekend, our highs remain in the 80s, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, checking traffic conditions this time of the morning. We are monitoring a couple of crashes this morning. This one down in the Holly Springs area. This is Highway 55 northbound near the Holly Springs Road. Right now, our sensors are not picking up any delays in that area, but keep that in mind if you're heading that way. Watch for some police activity in that area as well. This crash we've been monitoring for the last maybe 45 minutes. It's probably in the clearing phase, not causing any problems on South Main Street in the southbound lane near Lewisburg Road. We are picking up some bumper-to-bumper traffic a little farther south there on Lewisburg Road, but just keep that in mind. You're about to head out this morning. Elsewhere around the triangle, boy, the Beltline really picking up this morning in the north side of the Beltline. Those are the areas you're coming off of 87, coming in from Knightdale, and you exit off to the 440 westbound lanes. That's the backup you're going to see right now. You're seeing the similar situation building on the south side of the Beltline around Lake Wheeler Road, the Gorman Street exit. Durham Freeway picking up as well. You're coming off the Durham Freeway off the I-40 westbound lanes. Just keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. Lai Ching-te has been sworn in as Taiwan's new president. He is taking over from Tsai Ing-wen after having served as her vice president for the past 4 years. He's expected to continue most of the policies of his predecessor, but he is viewed as a separatist by Beijing.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. Some breaking news out of the UK. A high court in London has ruled Julian Assange can appeal extradition to the U.S. That's what the High Court ruled in favor. It's a victory for Assange. He has the right to appeal in a final challenge now against his extradition to the U.S. His legal team argued the judges should not accept any assurances given by the U.S. that he would be protected under First Amendment rights. The judges said the case that the U.S. represented was not sufficient. Assange is wanted by U.S. authorities on espionage charges connected to his organization's publication of thousands of classified documents dating back to 2010 and 2011. He faces life in prison if convicted.
Thank you, Jeff. The 6th week of former President Donald Trump's hush money trial begins today. CB Cotton has a look at what we can expect today as the trial wraps up.
After 5 weeks, former President Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial is nearing its end. Monday is expected to wrap up testimony by Trump's ex-attorney Michael Cohen, one of the final witnesses called by the prosecution, as Trump's defense team completes cross-examination.
The prosecution's case is so weak that it's very hard to imagine that anyone can look at this and think that President Trump is truly guilty of a crime, because he is not.
Once Cohen is done testifying, prosecutors appear poised to rest their case. Still, Trump's lead lawyer, Todd Blanche, left open the possibility that Trump could take the witness stand himself, telling the judge last week he planned to discuss the possibility with the former president over the weekend. Throughout the case, Trump has been barred from publicly commenting on witnesses and jurors due to an ongoing gag order. But Thursday, nearly a dozen House Republicans flocked to the Manhattan courthouse, lending their support to Trump and speaking out on his behalf.
They want to be in his cabinet. They want to curry favor with him. They want to audition for being his running mate. It's just sad.
Trump maintains he is innocent of any wrongdoings and says the case is an attempt to keep him off the campaign trail with less than 6 months remaining until Election Day. Meantime, President Joe Biden, speaking to voters, took aim at Trump while campaigning in Detroit.
As they say where I come from, this guy's a different breed of cat. He's not your typical Republican.
That was CB Cotton reporting. The judge told lawyers to be ready for closing arguments as soon as tomorrow.
The nation's first black astronaut candidate has finally gone to space 60 years later. Ed Dwight went to the edge of space on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket on Sunday. Dwight was one of 6 passengers on that trip, and he was selected by President John F. Kennedy back in 1961 to be an astronaut. He wasn't picked for the 1963 class, but at 90 years old, he set the record for the oldest person to go to space.
Everything you can think of. And I thought I really didn't need this in my life, but now I need it in my life. This is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, what an amazing experience. This was Blue Origin's first crew launch in nearly 2 years and only the 7th time flying space tourists.
Look at your screen. I want you to look at a bright flash from a comet that flew over Spain and Portugal. It lit up the sky bright green and blue Saturday night. See it right there. The European Space Agency says the small piece of a comet flew by at 28 miles per second before it burned up over the Atlantic Ocean, but just stunning colors to see that go across the sky.
Oh my goodness. One budget airline is getting rid of flight change fees and adding new fare options. Frontier Airlines' change or cancel fee currently stands at about $99 within a week of departure. And now the airline is providing bundles for things like adding baggage or early boarding. It comes after the U.S. DOT issued a final rule for airlines to disclose fees to customers.
A graffiti artist in Los Angeles is walking a tightrope between art and danger. Benjamin Schneider trespassed on a building and then used a drone to string a line between 2 40-story buildings. He then walked between the 2 buildings, and he says the act has a symbolic meaning in it. He has not been charged for sneaking into the building, but still, it's a risky move there.
A little bit. Yeah, that's a little scary. All right, well, last night's NASCAR All-Star race was a decisive victory for Joey Logano. He was in front for all but one of the 200 laps around North Wilkesboro Speedway. It was a good night for Logano, but racers Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a very different racing experience.
And that's retaliation.
Yeah, brawl broke out between the drivers. On turn 2, Stenhouse was pushed into the wall by Busch. Tensions escalated between the two throughout the race. Stenhouse finished in last place.
It looks like the Denver Nuggets will not be repeating as NBA champions. The Minnesota Timberwolves came back from a 20-point third-quarter deficit to beat them in their Game 7 playoff matchup last night. The Timberwolves will move on to play the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals, with that series starting Wednesday night.
Still ahead, another protest in downtown Raleigh. The demonstrators pushed to stop a bill that would ban wearing face masks in public, and where that bill stands.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. A cloudy start to our week. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a live look over Sanford. Some low-lying clouds there too, Elizabeth.
Yes, this has been with us for a few hours now. This all started around 7 o'clock or so, 6 o'clock in some places. And some of this is pretty stubborn, but we still expect to see this burning off or dissipating by lunchtime, if not before. About a mile of visibility in the Triangle. It's even lower in Roxborough at under a quarter of a mile. If you're going to be out and about, it will be fine. Once we get to lunchtime, we'll see plenty of sunshine. Nice for spending your lunch hour outside. Matter of fact, the nicest day this week, probably with mid-70s at lunchtime and 70s into the evening, too.
And in the WRAL Traffic Center, we are seeing traffic pick up this morning. We're seeing it pick up around the Beltline, the northern side of the Beltline. There's lanes coming in off of 87. Those westbound lanes of 440 as well as the south side of the Beltline around the Lake Wheeler Road exit. We're also seeing some brake tapping going on coming in from Wake Forest and that area of US 1 and Capitol Boulevard. So keep that in mind. That crash just popped up. You saw it pop up right there. I'll have an update for you over on Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. Two shootings an hour apart and 2 blocks from one another happened in Raleigh on Saturday night. Officers found 22-year-old Joris Cooper shot near Sherman Avenue and Clanton Street. He died at the hospital. Another shooting near NC State's McKimmon Center sent someone to the hospital. No word on if the two are related. And law enforcement agencies across the state are cracking down on seatbelt use as the busy Memorial Day travel season approaches. The Click It or Ticket campaign is happening now through June 2nd, and you could face up to $179 if you're caught not wearing a seatbelt. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic over on Fox 50.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Low clouds are still hanging over Durham and a lot of the Triangle area. I'll show you when the sun should help to eliminate those coming up.
And a man was seriously injured during a crash in Moore County. What Highway Patrol is saying about the crash, including that they were hit head on.
Today, you'll have a chance to learn more about how to protect your child from online danger. Coming up, why you should start a conversation at home about online safety.
A lot of useful information for parents in that story and others that we are tracking this morning on WRAL News and Fox 50. But first, we want to say good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Happy Monday. It's a Monday. It's a cloudy Monday out there. But, you know, the clouds are going to dissipate. We're going to see a little sun later. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner first has this look. I love this. It looks like you're floating on the clouds.
It does, doesn't it? Well, that would be fun, wouldn't it? So there's the blue sky. There's the sunshine there. And you can see the clouds drifting by. This is a look at what's happening at about 1,800 feet above the ground. We do have this thick deck of clouds that you're experiencing around the Triangle area. This is what it looks like above it, and the sun's energy will help to disperse these clouds, but that's a fairly thick little deck there, and so it's going to take a little time. I think we'll see plenty of sunshine by lunchtime, if not before, in some spots. 62 is the temperature in the Triangle. Our dew point has climbed to around 60, which is still very comfortable. You can see here lots of cloud cover from, say, Goldsboro to Raleigh and north toward the Virginia line. This will gradually dissipate, but there are plenty of pockets of it. You can see who is is seeing some sunshine right now. Visibility around a mile in the Triangle, a little lower than that, about a 1/10 of a mile there in Roxborough, 3/4 of a mile up around South Hill. But you definitely see how the cloud cover disperses as we get through the day. Once we hit lunchtime, only about 40% of the sky should be covered with clouds. Mid-70s at lunchtime with a high of around 80 degrees, very close to normal. We do have one hot day coming our way and some rain for the holiday weekend. We'll check all that out coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, all new in the WRAL Traffic Center. We just got reports of this crash that happened on Lumley Road right there on Glenwood Avenue. Right now, we're not seeing any delays in that area, Lumley Road, Glenwood Avenue. But if it's part of your morning commute, just look for some police activity in that area and be careful as you navigate that area of town. This crash we've been monitoring now for the last 45 minutes on Highway 55 northbound near Holly Springs Road. Here again, it's in a rural part of the community, not causing any problems in terms of your morning commute. Elsewhere in the Triangle, we see all the traffic building on the Beltline, in particular the north side of the Beltline, the south side of the Beltline. We're seeing a lot of brake tapping going on coming in off of Capitol Boulevard, US 1 out of Wake Forest this morning. And the Durham Freeway, that's a trouble spot this morning. You know those lanes when you come off of I-40 westbound and you head down to the Durham Freeway, that's the bumper-to-bumper traffic that you're picking up this morning. We talked about the traffic picking up. Here's a live look at I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. If that's part of your morning commute, that's what you can expect as you're heading out this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. Breaking news, Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi is confirmed dead. That announcement came about 12:30 this morning, our time. He and Iran's foreign minister are among 9 people now confirmed dead in a helicopter crash there. Iran's cabinet held an emergency session today, led by the nation's first vice president, who will take Raisi's seat of power. Drone footage shot just before rescue crews arrived shows the wreckage on a remote hillside there. Crews arrived earlier this morning after battling difficult weather conditions and terrain. Raisi was a hardliner who had been seen as a possible successor to Iran's supreme leader.
This afternoon, you can voice your choice for how Wake County leaders spend your tax money. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us outside the Wake County Justice Center. Laura, commissioners want to make sure that the funding will accommodate for growth in the county.
This is a big week for people who live here in Wake County. Taxpayers will have the opportunity to weigh in here at the Justice Center behind me before the county makes a final decision on that proposed budget. I spoke with the chair of commissioners who tells me that they have really zeroed in on several specific areas on how to disperse those funds, including tax rates for homeowners. The proposed budget decreases the property tax rate by 22%. But since some home values are up, the amount you pay will likely go up. Wake County Chair Shanika Thomas tells me the extra revenue is needed if the county wants to keep serving its rapidly growing population.
Growth does not pay for itself. We have to make sure that we have enough firefighters and ambulances to get to all of these people. And it's 835 square miles in Wake County. And so we want to make sure as we continue to grow that we have the funding to support the needs of the people who live here.
She also says funding for education and public safety are top priorities at this time. That public hearing begins at 2 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Tonight, Durham City Manager will present the budget proposal for the next fiscal year, and that's happening during the City Council meeting that starts at 7 o'clock at City Hall.
Breaking news, a man is seriously hurt after a head-on crash involving a motorcycle and a car in Moore County. This happened just before 11 o'clock last night on NC 690 near McGill Road. According to Highway Patrol, a driver who was turning crashed head-on into the motorcycle. The cyclist was seriously injured and was airlifted by helicopter to a trauma center. The crash is under investigation. And people who live near NC State's campus on Western Boulevard say they're worried after 2 shootings just an hour apart. Officers found a man with a gunshot wound near Sherman Avenue and Clanton Street just before midnight on Saturday. That man, 22-year-old Joris Cooper, later died at the hospital. The second shooting happened an hour later, 2 blocks away near NC State's McKimmon Center. A person went to the hospital with serious injuries. Police have not determined whether the shootings were related.
Keeping your children safe online is the focus of an event for parents this evening. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at Green Magnet Elementary School, and that's where state leaders will give parents new tools to start the conversation with their kids.
starting a conversation with your kids about the scary incidents that can happen online may be difficult. That's why parents are invited to come here to Green Magnet Elementary School to get informed. Today, parents will learn about 3 specific areas of online safety: what dangers are out there, how to protect your child from them, and what to do if something goes wrong. Last week, we told you about parents going to Raleigh police. This after 3 10-year-olds said a man exposed himself to them online and threatened to shoot up a school. Data shows there's a disconnect between parents and kids when it comes to internet safety. A Microsoft survey shows 74% of teens reported experiencing an online risk, but only 62% of parents believe their teen had experienced that. The executive director of Safe Child NC says parents should give guidelines for what to do online.
It's no different than given a bike or a toy or something else a child is going to interact with. There are instructions.
The State Justice Department will be here to answer parents' questions tonight. That event starts today at 5:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Another protest in downtown Raleigh, and this time people were protesting Israel's war in Gaza and a proposed ban on wearing face masks in public. Sunday's crowd was smaller. Roughly 100 demonstrators showed up as opposed to several hundreds. They're calling for both North Carolina and the U.S. to withhold funding from Israel, but they're also protesting legislation working its way through the General Assembly right now, including a ban on wearing face masks in public.
When you think about the Shalom Act, which will potentially thwart free speech and allow law enforcement to disproportionately criminalize the Palestinian movement, or the ICE bill, which will criminalize immigrants, or the masking bill, which will make it illegal for us to wear masks for health and safety reasons, all of these things are seeking to undermine and inhibit the movement. And so we're fighting those bills to ensure that we can protest and exercise our constitutional rights freely.
After passing the Senate last Wednesday, all of the bills now need to win approval by the State House before being sent to Governor Roy Cooper, who could sign or veto them.
More international news breaking in the WRAL Live Center. The International Criminal Court, the ICC, is seeking arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. I want to show you a picture of both of them. That's Sinwar on the left, Netanyahu on the right. These are for charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity over the October 7th attacks on Israel and the war in Gaza. This is the first time the ICC has ever targeted the top leader of a close ally of the United States. We're talking about Netanyahu there, of course, from Israel. The ICC launched the very same charges against Russian President Vladimir Putin over Moscow's war in Ukraine. Netanyahu says the charges are an outrage of historic proportions. Israel and the United States are not members of the ICC, but the ICC claims to have jurisdiction over Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank.
8 hours later, and still no reaction from President Biden. Thank you, Jeff. All right, look at your screen right here. A tornado was spotted on the ground near Mustang, Oklahoma last night. It's about 25 minutes outside Oklahoma City. The storms damaged several homes, and at least 2 people were injured during this.
Durham city leaders are working to get to the bottom of a major mix-up between Bimbe Festival organizers and its headliner, Monica. On Friday, the singer posted messages to Instagram saying that she will not be at the festival because she was never booked. Durham leaders say they had been working with a booking agent who gave them the impression that Monica would be there. Mayor Leonardo Williams says an investigation has been opened. And All-American Week kicks off at Fort Liberty today. The 82nd Airborne Division will host current and former paratroopers, their families, and the community for a variety of events. And throughout the week, paratroopers will compete in several fields, including boxing, flag football, tug-of-war, and cooking, to see who can claim the title of best of the best. It's also a chance for paratroopers to celebrate their service in America's Guard of Honor and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
It was quite an eventful PGA championship, to say the least. How Scottie Scheffler ended up finishing 8th after spending some time in jail.
And a co-pilot worked to make sure his partner's final flight was memorable. Oh, and it's a father-son duo. How they took their relationship to new heights for more than 500 flights.
Giving you a live look outside right now at Goldsboro there. A lot of cloud coverage in this camera, but also in other cameras as well. But I will tell you that I just talked to Elizabeth a little bit ago. She says the clouds are going to go away. We'll see a little more sunshine. And if you look behind her right there, you already see a little sunshine there in Wilson.
Yeah, I feel like for the last 2 or 3 hours, I've been only showing the cloudy or foggy cameras. But take a look at Wilson. This is what is coming. It is breezy here. The whirligigs are really spinning around very quickly, and you can see the sunshine breaking through the clouds there. And this is what we'll see for much of the day. We give it a few more hours. I feel like where the clouds are thickest from the triangle area northward, it may take a couple more hours, but by lunchtime, everybody should be seeing some sunshine. 62 degrees right now around the triangle. We'll be in the mid-70s at lunchtime. This is a look at the wind speeds. And notice, here's the thing. The wind will help to mix up the atmosphere and break up the clouds, but the winds are completely calm in Raleigh, Durham, and Roxborough, as well as South Hill. And that's why that deck of clouds is still holding still. Now, hopefully we'll get some of this wind to slide farther east and help to break up those clouds. Winds are steady out of the northeast and Rocky Mount to 9 miles per hour, 8 miles per hour in Goldsboro. And we're looking at breezy conditions in Clinton and Fayetteville as well, just 6 miles per hour in Southern Pines. But those are all places where the clouds aren't nearly as thick because of the wind. 80 degrees in Raleigh, 81 Durham, 81 in Fayetteville. These will be our high temperatures this afternoon with some sunshine. And our dew point has climbed up to 60. It was in the 50s earlier, so that puts us a little closer to tolerable, and it is on its way up. We'll likely hit tropical by Thursday, and that's going to be the case into the weekend as we see a better chance for rain, just lots more moisture in the atmosphere. So enjoy today. Today's temperature is very close to normal. It was cooler than normal for a good bit of the weekend with highs in the 70s, and then highs will climb into the mid to upper 80s for much of this weekend. So you can see those color contours changing on over to yellow and red because of the warmth that'll be coming in. Beautiful evening for a Bulls game tomorrow. Tomorrow they start their next homestand, 6:30 game. Expect temperatures to be close to 80 at that point, 77 at 7 o'clock and 75 at 8 o'clock. But humidity should be on the tolerable side. I'll tell you, it'll be the best day of the week to go and see a ball game there at the DBAP. Our normal high is 81, so that's what we're close to today. We'll be in the mid-80s for the most part next week, except for 91 on Thursday, and the humidity will be pretty high that day as well. So that day is going to feel a bit more uncomfortable. Starting late on Friday, late afternoon to the evening, we're going to start to see some scattered storms. And then Saturday, at this point, looks like the wettest day of the holiday weekend. Sunday's trending a little bit drier with a smaller chance for thunderstorms. But I can guarantee you that this will change in some fashion between now and the weekend because we'll get so much more data in by then. So we'll keep checking back. Make sure you check in with us if you have plans. Above normal temperatures are possible between now and early June. Again, the day that will feel most like summer this week is Thursday at 91. And then, of course, a wetter pattern for this weekend.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. We are learning more about a shooting in Savannah, Georgia that left 11 people hurt. Police say gunfire erupted in Ellis Square in the city's historic district late Saturday night. All of the victims were adults. It's unclear how many of them were shot. No one has died. There's no word on any arrests.
Sean Diddy Combs addressed a video showing him repeatedly hitting his then-girlfriend, singer Cassie. The 2016 assault was caught on a hotel camera, and Diddy addressed his action in a video posted on Instagram yesterday.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Now, he and Cassie dated from 2007 to 2018. And whereas he did say he was sorry, Diddy did not apologize directly to Cassie in the video. Combs' attorney said the decision to settle was, quote, in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Combs has faced a series of civil lawsuits alleging his involvement in sex trafficking and sexual abuse, and those are allegations he repeatedly denies.
A North Carolina woman is facing charges in Florida after leading troopers on a chase, which ended with the woman jumping off the side of a bridge into a lake. Dash camera video here shows the chase earlier this month in Miami. Authorities say 27-year-old Melina Logan stole a Honda during a test drive. She then led troopers on this chase, and when Logan approached standstill traffic, she crashed into several cars and was pinned against a concrete wall. She then managed to crawl out of the car and jumped off the highway ramp into a lake. Officers jumped in to rescue her. She is being held in jail, facing several charges.
Goodness, just intense video to see play out before us. A man, police say, stole a truck from the fire department in California's capital city is now facing charges. Police in Sacramento were able to track the stolen pickup truck downtown. That was Saturday night. They say they needed to use spike strips and a pit maneuver just to stop the driver of the stolen truck. The standoff then happened and police shot those pepper balls in the truck and took a 32-year-old man into custody, and he's facing 4 felony charges.
Sailors from the USS Carney are back home after a historic 7-month deployment to the Middle East. They arrived in Florida yesterday morning after their deployment that started 10 days before Hamas attacked Israel. And while the ship was in the Middle East, it destroyed Houthi-launched weapons and 65 targets in Yemen.
I just had a special crew to be a part of, and I couldn't do anything without these guys. And I'm just so thankful and grateful.
And Secretary of the Navy Carlos Del Toro said the USS Carney saw the most combat during its deployment than any Navy ship since World War II.
Xander Schauffele is a major champion for the first time in his PGA career. He sank a birdie putt on the final hole on the tournament in Louisville to clinch a 1-stroke victory. The win makes him the second-ranked golfer in the world behind Scottie Scheffler. Now, Scheffler finished 8th in the tournament after his arrest Friday morning. He played his best round Sunday, shooting 6 under par. Scheffler is expected to be arraigned tomorrow on his charges, which include assault on a police officer. An officer grabbed onto Scheffler's car as the golfer tried to go around a police roadblock to get into the tournament before the second round, according to authorities. Scheffler says that was all a misunderstanding.
A father and son are taking family bonding to new heights, 30,000 feet to be exact. Eric Lake followed in his father's footsteps as a pilot for Delta, and Eric served as his dad's co-pilot for more than 500 flight hours. When Tom retired earlier this month, Eric wanted to make sure his final flight was memorable. Passengers and crew shook his hand and thanked him for his service, and there was a water cannon salute to send Tom off in style.
He is the best pilot that I've ever known. I think if I can even do half of what he's done, I think I'm doing something right.
Oh, that's so sweet. Eric was able to fly with his dad on Memorial Day and Christmas and even turned down a promotion so he could remain his co-pilot. That is so special. Well, today's entertainment news takes us to the French Riviera, to the happiest place on earth. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and friends want a union. 1,700 Disneyland cast members who play characters at the California theme park have voted to unionize. Other Disneyland employees, from retail and food service to security and hair and makeup, are represented by unions, but character actors have been excluded. The documentary The Blue Angels gives audiences a high-flying look at a year in the life of the elite U.S. Navy Aerial Acrobatics Squadron.
We're not just the 45-minute demo that you see in the public. It takes very rigorous winter training that starts in early November and ends the first or second week of March. And then our season goes all the way through November. And then we get just a couple days off and we're back into it for the next training season.
The Blue Angels just launched in IMAX theaters and zooms onto Prime Video Thursday.
You and I are standing guard in one of the last great open spaces. That looks like a promising place. The place I might be able to see myself.
Here's your latest look at Horizon, an American saga, Kevin Costner's planned 4-part Western epic. The first installment just screened at the Cannes Film Festival, where it received a lengthy standing ovation. It rides into theaters June 28th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Love a good Western. And before we go to break, here are the winning lottery numbers for you on your screen, and we'll get another check on weather and traffic in just a bit. Stay with us.